Today we're going to work on differentiating your thigh bone from your pelvis and your spine. So this is really key for your overall spinal health, specifically your low back health. Because if every time we lift and lower our leg and try and do strengthening exercises there, and this is happening in our spine and our pelvis, it's really creating this yo-yo effect of compression and extension and like this whole sort of yo-yoing effect in your lumbar vertebra, as well as the ligaments, right? So we want to protect and support and create strength and length there. And that's exactly what we're going to do with the two exercises we're going to do today. So we're going to work on traction, right? So you're going to give yourself a little traction to release and lengthen your lumbar vertebra and your hip joint, as well as tabletop legs, which means that we're going to just gently test the waters by lifting one leg, then the other, then possibly both, and just hold them at this tabletop position as you really try and work to stabilize the trunk here. So let's look at some do's and don'ts. All right, so the first thing you want to do is get your neutral pelvis, neutral spine sort of calibrated here. So I want to think about where can I rest my pelvis so that my sacrum or my tail, my butt crack is really kind of broad and level there, meaning that between my navel, my pubic bone, and my two hip bones are really level, like I've got a cup of coffee balance there. Another thing is that I will have a lift in the small of my back. So one of the cheats is that sometimes we really tuck and we really push the spine down, and I don't want you to do that. The other cheat is that we really lift the ribs up to try and brace ourselves, because we're like, oh, we're supposed to have a lift, let's lift the ribs up. So I want you to see if you can keep the ribs down. So you've got your tail down, your ribs down, your neck will have a little curve just like your lower back, and then your skull is down. And the first thing we're going to be doing is making sure that we keep those ribs and pelvis stable as you take the hands and just push on your thighs, right? And then we're going to be practicing floating a leg up. And this is where you really want to feel this release of the crease. So you just chant to yourself, release the crease, release the crease, so that you get this drop of the thigh bone down and almost like a little roll inside of there. And the crease is right here. And you want that to be nice and soft and squishy, right? So that way you're working more through this deep center line, this true core, than just gripping in your hips and lifting up or rocking your pelvis. So let's start. Let's do a little traction. So you're going to take the heel of your hand, right, the heel of this palm, and you're going to take it all the way down to the top of the thighs, kind of where your thigh meets your pelvis. And you're just going to push with your hands, right? And when you start, your shoulders might even be up by your ears, and you could kind of push with the hands, pushing into the thighs there to give a little traction, right? So I feel a gentle pull coming all the way through here as I do this. And I'm just pushing, and don't worry about your shoulders yet or anything like that. I'm just going to rock my ribs a little side to side, so almost like I'm crawling my ribs away from my pelvis. And then I'm going to let my shoulders shrug away from my ears and keep pushing there. I'm giving the traction first so you really get a sense of this separation between your thighs and your pelvis. So when we go to lift our leg, it doesn't do this, right? I don't want you to lift your leg from your pelvis. I want you to give yourself this traction and just breathe there. So let's just hold this and breathe in. I want you to breathe into your belly and low back. And as you exhale, draw the belly in, sinking the navel in. Feel like you're sort of wrapping around your whole body like a corset. Inhale, breathing in. Exhale, drawing the belly in, keeping the ribs down, keeping the tail grounded, even keeping the sits bones kind of heavy right through here. One more like that, breathing in. Exhale, drawing the belly in, really nestling those ribs down. Let your hands come by your side. Make sure you keep that imaginary cup of coffee balance. You're going to breathe in. As you exhale, you're going to test the waters by pushing into the left foot and practice lifting the right knee over the right hip and the right shin parallel to the ground. Check in. Did you rock your pelvis? Did you rock it side to side? Or did you keep that imaginary cup of coffee level? So I've got this nice fold, like a 90-degree angle going from my thigh, my knee, at my hip joint, and at my torso, and lower down. Just try that on the other side. You can use the pressure of this right foot into the mat to help you stabilize the pelvis. As you exhale, draw the belly in and lift the leg up. Notice that I didn't lift my ribs up to do that, keeping them down. Inhale as you lower, take a minute. Exhale, draw the belly in and float the right leg up. Inhale, dropping it down. Exhale, as you lift the leg up, it should feel both heavy, like the leg itself should feel heavy, but as you lift up, it should really feel like it's just magically floating up. Very easy, as if there's a roll in there. And remember, release the crease. Inhale as you drop down. Exhale, drawing in to really stabilize the center line from head to tail. And lower down. Inhaling at the bottom. Exhale, pushing into that foot, drawing the belly in, and lifting that leg up. So if you are newly postnatal or are just working on building back your core strength, or if you've had abdominal surgeries, this might be where you want to start, just with breathing, pulling the belly in, and lifting one leg up at a time. If you want a little bit more challenge, what you're going to do is you're going to float the right leg up, then float the left leg up. You're at this true tabletop. I want you to take your hands to your knees here. Keep the ribs back on the mat. I didn't tuck my tail, so I'm not rocking there. I'm really keeping that stable. There's a lift in the small of my back. My hands are going to push against my knees, and my knees are going to push against my hands. And what I'm going to do is push all 4 points towards each other and breathe in. Exhale, drawing the belly in the whole time I exhale. If your belly starts to push up and your ribs lift, go back to one leg at a time. Breathe in. Exhale, drawing the belly in, drawing the belly in. Really getting this lift and connection, this hollowing and narrowing, especially my low abdominals, from my hip joint towards my navel and right around my navel. One more like that. Breathing in. Drawing the belly back on the exhale. The whole time you exhale, if you get towards the end of the exhale and your belly starts to push down or out towards the ceiling, you've gone too far. So the whole time you exhale, you're pulling in, pulling in, pulling in, pulling in, pulling in, but keeping everything stable. And then you inhale and you lower one foot down and the other foot down. Take a little knee sway. And that's it. So very simple way just to start to activate and find that core. Congratulations for even activating that much, right? So that alignment is really key for your overall spinal health and getting that roll and glide of your femur. Just remember, release the crease. You can chant that to yourself when you're at work, sitting at your desk, or if you're in your car and you're like really gripping in those hips, just be like, release the crease, release the crease. Because you don't need it to work there, but we just get really jammed up there from sitting all the time. You've created a lot of space with that traction, so you created more length in that lumbar spine and in your hip joint, as well as created support for that space, right? So I want to know, now that you have these tools, how will you use them? Will you use them as like a warm-up exercise or just a little maintenance? Right? Maybe you cleaned your place and your back is a little iffy and you use that just to reconnect, to create some space and find that solid center line. Or maybe you want to use this for a full-blown exercise, right? This is your core work right now. We're all at different levels, and just be understanding of that for yourself and remind yourself to go at your own pace, because all of it's progress and all of it's good. Thank you so much for being here, and until next time, keep moving.